Give us my chol, give us my chol, give us my chol, give a smile. Give us my chol, give us my chol, be the reason someone smiles. Give us my chol, give us my chol, give us my chol, give a smile. Give us my chol, give us my chol, be the reason someone smiles. Give us my chol, give us my chol, give us my chol, give a smile. Give us my chol, give us my chol, be the reason someone smile. Give us my chol, give us my chol, give us my chol, give a smile. Give us my chol, give us my chol, be the reason someone smiles. Siva gedola, liyo liyo besimcha. Siva gedola, liyo liyo besimcha. Siva gedola, liyo liyo besimcha. Siva gedola, liyo besimcha. Siva gedola, liyo 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 besimcha. Be the reason someone smiles. 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 Siva gedola, liyo besimcha. Siva gedola, liyo liyo besimcha. Siva gedola, liyo liyo besimcha. Siva gedola, liyo besimcha. Someone smile. Be the reason someone smile. Be the reason someone smiles. Be the reason someone smiles. Be the reason someone smiles.
Breakfast with Elli.
Mode ani lefanecha melech chai v'kayam shechazarta bi nishmati b'chemla raba emunatecha.
I was one of the most senior international financial diplomats of this country, and I regularly held meetings at the ministerial level, sometimes with heads of state throughout Latin America, throughout Asia, and in the Middle East. And I went into those meetings looking the way that I'm sitting here today. And I can tell you, Yaakov, without any question whatsoever in my mind, I think people that I engaged with across the table who were very senior officials all respected me for the way that I looked.
And that's how it works. Good morning and welcome to Breakfast with Ellie. It is Monday, the 6th day of the lusty month of May, the 28th day of Nissan. The Torah portion is Kedoshim, HaYom, Yom Sheini, the Shabbos, the second day counting up toward Shabbos. We're learning the second Aliyah. Please say urgent Tehillim for Itav Lev Halevi ben Vered. Itav Lev Halevi ben Vered, an IDF soldier who was severely injured and is in need of our prayers. We will dedicate this broadcast to him today. Itav Lev Halevi ben Vered. And I'll put that up on the screen so that you all can see it. How are you? Good morning. What's new? Okay. I'm not getting anything. Itav Lev Halevi ben Vered, it turns out. Itav, okay. That's good to know. Let me get the whole thing here. I'm going to put that up for you. Itav Lev Halevi ben Vered. We'll put that up on the screen so that you can see it. Just give me a moment. Because, just because, there it is. All right, and we'll move it over here. Move it over here. How's that? And then we just have to move it so it's visible the whole time. Okay. Fantastic. All right, men and boys, take you to front tzitzis on this Yom HaShoah, day of remembrance of the Holocaust. And let's make a bracha.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddishanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al mitzvat tzitzit.
All right, al divrei Torah.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddishanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al divrei Torah.
All right, and Sheini Mekabel is up next.
Sheini Mekabel alay mitzvat aseh shel ve'ahavta l'reacha kamocha. I take upon myself every single day to love my fellow friend in a very special way.
All right, and that special way that we love with is Torah Tziva.
Ay Torah tziva lanu Moshe morasha keilat Yaakov. Torah tziva lanu Moshe morasha keilat Yaakov.
All right, fantastic. Now it's time to give some tzedakah.
I put it in the pushki that's a tzedakah box. I put it in the pushki that's a tzedakah box. I put it in the pushki for someone else to keep. Yeah, I put it in the pushki that's a tzedakah box. I put it in the pushki that's a tzedakah box. I put it in the pushki for someone else in need.
All right, fantastic. Thank you so much, everybody. And that takes us to the Shema. Right hand over your eyes as we say it together with the little Kinderlach. Oh my God. That is so beautiful. It really is. All right. Breakfast time. I've got my coffee. I've got my yogurt. Yeah, they didn't get the new yogurts after Pesach yet. And so I'm still working with a different set of yogurts. They're still kosher Pesach, but they're not my Greek yogurts. I like the Greek yogurts much better. All right, are you ready? Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehakol nihya b'dvaroi.
Coffee, blessed coffee. God bless you for being a friend. When the whole world turns on me, it's only you on which I can depend. I want to taste you in the morning and a few times throughout the day. Yes, a cup or two in the evening too. For me, it's the only way. Yeah.
All right. Fantastic. Add some of that yogurt too. All right. Today's Sfiras HaOmer,
49
day
days
13, Sod of Gevurah.
After it's dark, Mark, at the end of my read, Steve, do it in shul, shmuel, just count with me. Look for the stars, Tamar, just be sure to make the bracha. Erev is the key, Tzvi, count Sfira with me.
All right, that's what we're doing. We're counting Sfira for day 13. If you didn't count last night, let's count together with Rabbi Brooke. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. All right, today in Jewish history. Okay. Chav Ches Nissan. It's a big day. You don't understand what that means? Well, I'm going to tell you. Hold on one second. All right, let me do this here. Let me just move this. There we go. All right. Chav Ches Nissan, the 28th day of Nissan. Lots of things happened today. Number one, the walls of Jericho came tumbling down on this day. On the seventh day of the encirclement of the city of Jericho, the Jews, accompanied by the Holy Ark, encircled the city 7 times. After the blowing of the shofar, the walls mysteriously, miraculously crashed and sank, leaving the city open and unprotected. Jericho was easily conquered, becoming the first fortified Canaanite city to fall to the Bnei Yisrael, the children of Israel, in their conquest of the Holy Land. Interesting enough, In 1945, the Buchenwald concentration camp, which was founded in 1937 near the town of Weimar, Germany, where approximately 250,000 prisoners were incarcerated, were liberated on this day in 1945. Weimar is a city known for its highly cultured citizenry. It was the home of many upper-class intellectual members of Europe's society. Among others, Goethe, Schiller, Franz Liszt, Bach all lived in Weimar. Though technically not an extermination camp, approximately 56,000 prisoners were murdered in Buchenwald, not including many others who died after being transferred to other camps, which were extermination camps. They died because of various medical experiments, summary executions, tortures, beatings, starvations, and the complete inhumane working conditions. The camp was also known for its brutality. German officers would force inmates to eat their meager soup ration off the mud on the ground, would keep them standing in the cold until they froze to death, and even used the skin of the dead inmates to make lampshades. On the 29th day of Nissan in 1945, the 6th Armored Division of the United States 3rd Army liberated the camp. Among the most famous inmates who spent time in Buchenwald are Rabbi Meir Lau, the former chief rabbi of Israel, and Nobel laureate Elli Wiesel. They were both there as well. The rains that fall from Pesach to Sheini Atzeres are considered medicine according to the Talmud. Let me just make this a little bit bigger so I can see it a little bit better. There we go. All right. And the Talmud says there is no equal in all of medicine. One of the sages said we would stand in the rain and uncover our heads a little bit so our mouths, so the rain would fall on our heads, and also open our mouths so a little would fall into the mouth on the right-hand side. And from Atzeres onward, some of the rains are good for medicine. That's very interesting. All right. Chaf Ches Nissan. Tut Alts. Do everything you can to bring Mashiach now. On the eve of this day, on April 11th, 1991, the Lubavitcher Rebbe issued an emotional call to the world Jewish community to increase their efforts to bring Mashiach and the ultimate Geula, redemption. Spoken in an anguished voice and couched in uncharacteristically personal terms, the Rebbe's words deeply shocked those Hasidim present in the Rebbe's synagogue and reverberated worldwide as the announcement was made. How is it that the redemption has not yet been attained? The Rebbe cried. That despite all that's transpired and all that's been done, Mashiach has still not come. What more can I do? I have done all I can to bring the world to truly demand and clamor for the redemption. The only thing that remains for me to do is to give the matter over to you. Tut alts, do everything that is in your power to achieve this thing, a most sublime and transcendent light that needs to be brought down into our world with pragmatic tools. I have done all I can. I give it over to you. Do all that you can to bring the righteous Redeemer immediately. I've done my part. From this point on, it's in your hands. After a weekday Ma'ariv, the eve of 28th of Nissan, the Rebbe began to deliver what appeared to be a regular talk, a Sicha, whose format and style promised to resemble many of hundreds of previous talks. The Rebbe opened by relating the theme of Geula, Mashiach, to the distinctive spiritual potential of the present year, the present month, the present week, and today. After a short time, however, everything changed. The intricate scholarly discussion came to an end, and in tones of intense clarity, the Rebbe turned to the community assembled that night in 770, addressing them directly, most unusually in the second person. Unmistakably, this was a cry from the heart. The Rebbe's words were highly charged. On the evening following Parshas Sheini, the Rebbe explained the meaning of what he said. The responsibility lies on every individual to hasten the coming of Mashiach by increasing our study in Torah, both in the real level of Talmud, Torah law, and the mystical levels, the panemius, the innermost meanings of Torah, Chassidus, as well as upgrading our performance of mitzvahs in a beautiful and conscientious manner. The Rebbe's message rang loud and clear. It's up to us to hear it. All right? That's super important. All right, last night we counted 13 days of the Omer. So you know what to do. I don't have to tell you anymore. We're already there. All right? So just please do whatever it is that you can do. All right? HaYom for today, the 28th day of the
היום הזה הוא זמן שמחתנו, שמע את התפילה שבליבנו, ותמחול את כל עוונותינו ביום הזה.
The Alter Rebbe, founder of the Chabad movement, knew a thing or two about the human condition. In today's HaYom, we listen into a conversation between this great Hasidic master and his disciples. Hasidim once asked the Alter Rebbe, which is a higher form of spiritual service, love of Hashem or love of your fellow Jew? The Alter Rebbe responded, both love of Hashem and love of Israel are engraved in the soul of every single Jew. So so both of these loves come naturally to us. But how do you know that you are truly in love? When the things that are important to the person that you love become important to you as well. Says the Alter Rebbe, if you love Hashem's children just as Hashem loves his children, then love of Israel is love of Hashem in its highest and most pristine form.
Oev es Habrias. You love Hashem's children. Beautiful. It is absolutely beautiful. All right. We're up to a word from our sponsors.
And now, a word from our sponsors. PestProRidol.com.
PestProRidol.com, trusted by the best to keep away the pests. We are offering COVID-19 disinfection services. Mention this ad and get 1 month free service. Visit us at PestProRidol.com.
Tarzane Group, micro, miniature, and small orchids. Go to tarzanegroup.com or call Tomas at 305-440-0565. That's 305-440-0565. And order today. Visit Tomas and Yair at tarzanegroup.com. Micro, miniature, and small orchids. Beautiful in your home. Go to the website and read Tomas's orchid blog. And by Dina D Design. DinaDDesign at gmail.com. Fine artwork, custom made to your specifications, logos, wall hangings, Judaica, and you can even have something for your child's room. Dina D Designs. Go to her Facebook or Instagram or call or text Thank you very much to our sponsors. If you'd like to become a sponsor, please go right up here to where it says patreon.com/theactorsrabbi, and you can contribute even only $1 a month if you'd like, but that'll help us bring this broadcast to you on a daily basis and cover our expenses. Be sure to thank your sponsors when shopping and mention Breakfast with Ellie when you're shopping there. There might be discounts. Thanks for watching.
Torah, 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 Tziva lanu Moshe. Torah, 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 Tziva lanu Moshe.
All right, patreon.com/theactorsrabbi or breakfastwithelli.live/new-computer if you would like to help us in our quest to get a brand new computer so that we can continue bringing this program to you without all these hitches and glicks and glitches and things. All right. Patreon.com/theactorsrabbi, breakfastwithelli.live/new-computer. All right, as we have seen, the lesson that we learned from the sequence of the 4 preceding parshas, which were Sheini, Tazria, Metzora, and Acharei. The thread from these is that true holiness is living a holy life in Olam Hazeh, this world, rather than trying to escape it or renounce it. Once it's taught us this lesson, the Torah proceeds with the details of how holiness is in fact achieved. And that is the subject of the present parsha, Kedoshim, which means holy. Kedoshim comprises of a dizzying assortment of seemingly unrelated topics and commandments, many of which are in fact treated elsewhere in the Torah as well. So how do we make sense of this? Well, the answer is to be found in the opening words of the parsha. Kedoshim tihiyu, you should be holy, ki kodesh ani, because I am holy. I am God, your God, am holy. As we will see, this means that our holiness derives from Hashem's kedusha, holiness. What is holy? What is being holiness? Well, the Hebrew word for holy, kadosh, means separate or removed and above and beyond. Relative holiness means being beyond, in a separate category from surrounding entities. Absolute holiness means being beyond everything, beyond the limitations of this world. Hashem is axiomatically, absolutely, and infinitely holy. Since he created the world, he is by definition categorically beyond it and any of its characteristics. Hashem is absolutely unlimited by time, space, or any of the concepts of creation. So, by being told that we are holy because I, God, your God, am holy, we are being told that we too can partake of Hashem's otherness, that the heights of holiness we can reach are infinite, just as Hashem is bli gvul, infinite. Now, there's another reason why Kedoshim follows Acharei. Yom Kippur, the opening topic of Parshas Acharei, is both the embodiment and apex of the process of tshuva. Teshuvah, the reinstatement of divine consciousness after a fall. Tashuv, to return. In this process, we learn how to break out of the rut of our natural life and make a spiritual quantum leap. The entropic force of nature, of natural spirituality, of natural spiritual reality, dictates that all creation be locked in a downward spiral of denigration and degradation. Teshuvah belies this truth. Through teshuvah, we can attain heights of holiness that our natural sense of logic tells us are beyond our grasp. Remember, as we spoke many times before, teshuvah, returning to Hashem, is the concept of Torah has 613 strings that connect us to Hashem. if one of those strings becomes broken or frayed, we go to retie it. And when you take two pieces of string and you tie them together, they become a little bit shorter. So you become a little bit closer to Hashem. And the place where they were broken, that knot is now doubled and sometimes quadruply stronger than it was before. So it won't be broken again. And that's how we attain heights of holiness. Now, that doesn't mean that you go out and break all the mitzvahs so that you become holier and closer to Hashem. That's not how it works. But after having experienced Teshuvah, after having become an expert at defying the gravitational pull of earthly reality, defying gravity, are we ripe for the call of Kedoshim? Be as holy as I am and ascend infinitely into this holiness. For the source of your holiness is me, and I am infinite. Heavy duty stuff. It is beyond, excuse me. To be beyond nature means to live with the awareness that nature poses no contradiction to divinity. I was just telling someone last night that the whole purpose that we are here, the whole purpose of our creation, is to make a home on this earthly plane for Hashem. Direle betachtoinim, a dwelling for Hashem in this, the lower world. And the whole concept of Am Bechir, of Bechirus, of being the chosen people, is that we are chosen to reveal this holiness to the world. To be beyond nature means to live with the awareness that nature poses no contradiction to divinity. The holier we are, the more capable we are of infusing divine consciousness into all aspects of creation previously locked into their worldly orientation. There is no aspect of life that is beyond our capacity to elevate, so long as we are connected to Hashem and are at one with His will. Therefore, all aspects of life, from the lowest depths of idolatry to the loftiest ideals of love for our neighbor, Ahavat Yisrael, comes within the purview of Parshas Kedoshim. It's an all-embracing scope of holiness that's expressed by the melange of laws comprised in this parsha, and we will continue this tomorrow. In the second Aliyah, more mitzvahs, not to pervert justice, not to gossip, to be indifferent to a fellow's predicament, hate a fellow, bear grudges, or take revenge. We should not do any of those things. We have to reprimand a sinner. We have to love every single Jew. And the following statutes are also given in this Aliyah. Not to sow a field with two types of seed. Kilayim, not to wear a garment made of a mixture of wool and linen. Shotness, or not to crossbreed animals. And the section concludes with the laws of one who commits adultery with a half-free maidservant. I think Rabbi Avtzon will explain that. All right. Thank you, Rabbi. And that takes us to Parsha Points with Rabbi Epstein.
Parsha Points Kedoshim for Monday. Love your neighbor as yourself. Is there a more famous line in all of Torah? Now, come on. I'm me and he is him. I can be kind to him, but love him? How can Hashem tell me to love him? Help him, okay. And like myself, it all starts with understanding who I am. Am I my accomplishments, my height, weight, and birth date, or am I my neshama? And if so, when I am my neshama, you are your neshama, and our neshamas are one, and presto, I love Misa me, and thus I love you, who is part of me. You see?
Yeah. He's great. All right. How about Shnayim Yomi?
Parshas Kedoshim Sheini. This Aliyah starts off with talking about how a judge has to be so careful in the courtroom. Lo sasa avu b'mishpat, not to make judgment corrupt, to be fair, not to let one person speak more than another, not to show more respect to the rich person or to a government official. In that courtroom, everyone is equal. Hashem wants us to be so careful when it comes to judging properly. Then we have the law of lo selach rachel ba'amecha, not to be like these peddlers who repeat things that they hear from one person to another, which is basically a form of Lashon Hara, Rechilas. Lashon Hara makes no difference if it's true or if it's not true. It leads to Motzi Shemra. We have to be so careful with how we speak about another Yid. This was the Chafetz Chaim's mantra. And he writes down that there's a special angel in heaven that is allowed to talk about you whenever you speak about other people. But if you're quiet and you don't speak about others, no matter what you do, he is not allowed to repeat it. When someone speaks Lashon Hara, they only hurt themselves and their family. Moving right along, lo sikam v'lo sitar is not to take revenge. When someone does something to you, don't go and fight him back. Understand that everything comes from Hashem. Don't hold grudges in your heart. And of course, we have the law of lo sisna chicha v'vavecha. Don't hate a yid in your heart. If someone does something to you and it bothers you, tell him. Keeping in your heart only, brings out resentment. And of course, we have the mitzvah ha'aficha kamocha, loving a fellow yid like yourself. The Chidah says the end of that pasuk is Ani Hashem, because the name of Hashem is 26. Each person by himself is an echad. Aleph Ches Dalet is 13. 13 and 13 is 26. When two people come together and they love each other, they bring Hashem into their relationship. And there's a line out there in the world that says live and let live. Don't bother others. That's not what the Torah says. The Torah says give musar, give rebuke to someone, but do it in the right way. Give rebuke to someone. If you see someone do something wrong, it should bother you. We're all on the same team. But you have to be careful. Make sure it does not embarrass him. Lo sisa lav chet. This is the lav to make sure you don't embarrass another Jew. If you have to tell him something, do it properly. Show him that you love him. Do it with care. Don't do it in a way where he feels like you're out to get him. No, we want to do what Hashem wants. We have to be so careful to do whatever we can not to embarrass another Jew.
Welcome to this week's Torah lesson. This week's Torah portion is Parshas Kedoshim. The question of the week is, how can we always look at the positive things in life? So in this week's Torah portion, Parshas Kedoshim, we're going to learn a piece from the Zohar. The Zohar says that Rabbi Yossi and Rabbi Chia, they were going in the road and they saw a person that was riding on a horse, and he stuck his hand up to a tree and he pulled a leaf off. So Rabbi Yossi says, this is what the verse in this week's Torah portion says, that you should be holy. And when a person sanctifies himself down here, Hashem on high sanctifies him, as the verse says, Kedoshim tiyu, you should be holy, ki Gadesh ani, because I Hashem am holy. So the Rebbe's father explains, and he says, what's the connection of Yossi and Reb Chia over here? With the story with the horse, driving on a horse in the branch. Rebbe's father explains that Reb Yossi and Reb Chia spiritually are connected to the spirit of Malchus and Yesod. And therefore, a horse is connected to Malchus. And a branch in a tree is connected to the idea of Yesod. And that's the connection between those two. So the Rebbe brings out something very powerful, and based on the now that we're near Beis, which is the anniversary of the passing of the Rebbe Marash, Lachatchila River. So he says, seemingly they were on a horse, they ripped off a branch off. So you can say, hey, you got to first deal with the fact, the impurity, like the Rebbe's father explains, the whole impurity what took place over here. But what do you learn from the Rebbe Marash? That you go to Chatchila River, you jump over straight to positive stuff, and you talk about the idea that when a person wants to sanctify himself, Hashem gives him sanctity above. In other words, rather than focusing on the negative, we focus only on the positive. So the answer to the question, how do we only focus on the positive and only bring positive in our life? By focusing on the positive, even when there's negativity there, jumping into the positivity, you'll have a great and positive life. Thanks so much for joining us for our weekly Torah lesson. This week's Torah thought is dedicated to the memory of Baruch Echad Leib, Shlomo Yosef, Rachel Baslipa, Tzina Basara. May their souls be elevated by Torah we're studying their memory. For more information, please see our website, chabad.org. Have a great and blessed week. Shavua Tov.
All right. And now we will go to Reb Zusha Zilberstein. He's got lots to say.
Yes, my dear friends, let's give some tzedakah, especially today, the day Chof Nissan, that we'll discuss in a moment what it is. But first of all, let me just share a personal reflection I had last night. Last night, while waiting for our luggage to arrive in the airport on the conveyor belt, I noticed two types of passengers. Waiters. I'm referring about people who are waiting for the luggage to arrive. I saw there were those passive waiters and those very active waiters. There are those sat on the side, waited for the luggage to eventually appear, and patiently just sitting there. When it will appear, we'll take it. But then you had the majority of them standing as close as possible as to the opening from where the suitcases come off the plane and get onto the conveyor belt and going through its arduous journey on the conveyor belt. This group were all fixated, looking at each suitcase. Ah, okay, next one is mine, next one is mine, next one is mine. Until finally when it comes, they grab the suitcase and immediately go towards the exit of the airport. Then it dawned on me, what an amazing Hashgacha Pratis, divine providence, that I noticed all this on the night where exactly 33 years ago to the day, the Rebbe gave this heart-wrenching call. And he said, we're so long in exile. Mashiach is still not here. I have done all I can to bring about the revelation of Mashiach. At this point, the only thing left for me is to give it over to you, to each and every one of you. Do whatever you can. Tut alles was ihr kennt, as the Rebbe said, screaming from the depth of his soul. Do everything you can to bring about the final redemption. And it dawned on me what the Rebbe is saying is, he wants us to live the mindset of those active waiters. Let me explain a little bit. those people who stand there and waiting for the luggage to arrive, as I said before, they are certain that the next piece of luggage is going to be mine. And if it turns out that the entire plane has been emptied and the luggage still hasn't arrived, they don't just walk away and say, okay, it's lost. I'm too tired of this long trip to deal with it now. I'll go home and tomorrow I'll call the airline and I will let them find it. No, first of all, they go from one conveyor belt to the other conveyor belt. Maybe it arrived somewhere else. Maybe somebody made a mistake. Maybe it's in this corner. Maybe it's there. They're looking all over the airport. And if it's still not found, they're going to the office, to the lost and found department, describing exactly what the suitcase looked like, what the luggage looked like, detailing the content, and not leaving till they make sure that they found out exactly where it got lost or where it stuck. And if not, they fill out all the forms to make sure that the airline is taking responsibility. Either to make sure that it arrives, they delivered at the destination at home, or to make sure to replace it. In other words, they don't give up. It's lost. Okay. Says the Rebbe, this is the mindset that we have to have. We have to understand, yes, it's a 2,000 long flight, 2,000-year-old flight. We're tired. But we cannot give up on the luggage. We cannot give up on the price which is Mashiach, which is redemption. We have to run from one conveyor belt to the other conveyor belt, from one mitzvah to another mitzvah. Keeping doing another mitzvah, giving more tzedakah, giving more charity, doing more Avos Yisrael, learning more Torah. Tuning in to the lost suitcases. Tuning in to the lost Jews who are not sure which direction of the conveyor belt they should be on. Point them to the right direction. Point them to the exit of exile. That's what the Rebbe is expecting from each one of us. To live accordingly, every moment of the day, until the luggage arrives. And my friends, it is so poignant these days when we see the phenomenal miracles, what's happening there at Israel. Thousands of rockets raining down on Israel, and Baruch Hashem, relatively speaking, miraculously, not too much damage. Although every single life lost is a catastrophe. Earthquakes, tsunamis, floods, bridges falling. All this is part of the journey, and we're coming to the final destination, final arrival. Please Hashem, today.
Brought tears to my eyes. Absolute tears to my eyes. Oh, man. It is Holocaust Memorial Day, and I'm not prepared to play a bunch of videos for Holocaust Memorial Day, but I do have one particular one that I'd like to play for you, if you would give me a moment just to get it up on the screen here. One of the things they do in Israel is they stop and they play a moment of silence. They make sirens. Well, here, just watch this. All right, sorry about that. And one of my Facebook friends just posted this wonderful, wonderful sentiment. Hashem, please bless us that the danger sirens be replaced with the shofar hagadol, the great shofar, with the arrival of Mashiach now. Yeah, all right. And that takes us to Tehillim.
Al Yedei Amidas Tehillim, Al Yedei Amidas Tehillim, Al Yedei Amidas Tehillim, Tisoyre Chavatzeles HaShoroin.
All right. We are saying chapters 23 and chapter 123 today. So please say Tehillim with us and make it in honor of Itav Lev Halevi ben Vered. All right? All right, here we go.
מזמור לדוד, אדוני רואי, לא אחסר, בינוס תשע, ירביצני, על מי מנוחוס ינהלני, נפשי שובב, ינחני ומעגלי צדק, למען שמו, גם כי לך בגיא צלמובס, לא ירא, כי אתה עמדי, שבטך ומשענתך, המה ינחמוני, תערוך לפניי שולחן נגד צורריי, תשענת בשמן ראשי, כוסי רוויה, אך טוב וחסד ירדפוני, כל ימי חיי ושבתי בביס אדוני לאורך ימים.
Shiramalus velachon asosi aseinai ha yeshiv shamayim hinefiyene yavodim yad adinayim kiyene shiv chayad kvita kiyene
Tanya. All right, Tanya, here we go. Let's see. This goes inside here. All right, fantastic. Tanya for today, the 28th day of Nissan.
Tanya thoughts for the 28th of Nissan. Still struggling to experience Yira? Try this on for size. Want to see Hashem? Look at his masterpiece, creation. And it's easy to find. It seems like creation is just everywhere. Then imagine, just as I am more than my skeleton, I have thoughts and feelings and ambitions, Hashem is so much more than the already pretty impressive creation. And wow, that is awesome. Now you've got at least entry-level Yira, the wow that leads to the humility that results in changed behavior.
Let's talk, Tanya, for the 28th of Nissan of a leap year. Yesterday, we concluded our discussion about the two different levels of love of God, Avas Olam and Ava Rabbah. Avas Olam, the lower level of God, which is a product of our work, our contemplation. Ava Rabbah, the higher level of love, which is a gift from God. Today, the Alter Rebbe tells us, although these sound like two levels, each one of these levels actually contains within it an infinite amount of levels. And the reason is because no two people are alike. And no one experiences the exact same feelings for God. The Alter Rebbe quotes the verse we say in the Eishes Chayil, Noida b'sha'arim ba'ala, which means that her husband is known in the gates. Now we know that everything that we read has multiple understandings, and the highest understanding of the Eishes Chayil is that the woman is Klal Yisrael, is the Jewish people, and the husband is God. Noida b'sha'arim ba'ala means her husband is known. How do we get to know our husband? Basha'arim, in the gates, but the word sha'arim also means shi'urim, which means in the measures, which means there are many different measures. Everyone has their own measure, their own capacity, their own entryway, and ultimately, yes, there's avas olam, the lower level of love, avarabba, the higher level of love, but everyone experiences in their own unique way. At the same time, however, the Alter Rebbe says, there is a certain love, which we'll call a hybrid love, which is a combination of the higher level love and the lower level of love. And as we shall see, it is something which is actually highly accessible to every single one of us. There are two different types of hybrid levels of love. The first one we're going to talk about today, and the second one we're going to talk about tomorrow. The first one, to introduce that, the Alter Rebbe quotes a pasuk, a verse from Yeshaya, and the verse is, Nafshi ivisicha balayla. We're talking to God, and we're saying, Nafshi, my soul, ivisicha balayla, I desire you during the nighttime. The Zohar looks at this verse and says, it's a little funny. Nafshi ivisicha balayla, my soul, I desire you by night. It should be, my soul desires you at night. What is my soul, I desire you at night? So the Zohar says the word nafshi, my soul, is not talking about my soul. We are turning to God and saying, God, nafshi, you are my soul. And because you are my soul, I desire you. What does that mean? Of all the desires that we have, of everything that we want, there is nothing that we desire more than life itself, than our soul. We all know when we are exhausted or when we are sick, chas v'shalom, we have this overwhelming desire. I want to live. I want my life. I want to live fully. I want to fully experience my soul. Now we have to understand that our ultimate life, what is the source of our life? What is our soul? God is our soul. So we turn to God and say, Nafshi, God, I get it. I understand. You are my soul. And ivisicha, I desire you. When do I especially desire you? By Lila, at the night. Why is that? During the day, we're running around, we're serving God, we're doing mitzvahs, we're studying Torah, or whatever else we're doing with the intention to serve God. But then we go to sleep at night and we spend a few hours sleeping. The moment we wake up, even during the night, we're like, oh my gosh, I miss my soul, I miss God. We wake up, we jump out of bed, we start learning some Torah, we do a mitzvah. This is the love which comes out of a recognition that God is our soul, God is our life. And this is a hybrid love. Why is it a hybrid love? On the one hand, it requires contemplation. I need to think about the fact that God is my life. On the other hand, it's also a gift. Why is it a gift? Because the fact that I love my life is part of my nature. Who gave me my nature? God gave me my nature. I did not create that love for my life. So therefore, we have a love which on the one hand is a gift from God, but to apply it to ourselves, we need to contemplate and realize that God is our life. This is the first hybrid love, and in tomorrow's Tanya, we will encounter the second hybrid love.
All right, you got it. Sefer HaMitzvahs of the Rambam.
No, it's not impossible that
Up to mitzvah minute 41.
study Rambam each and every day. I'll never miss my daily Rambam.
Let's go.
My episode desires. I'm not busy or too tired when I learn
Baruch Hashem, today is day number 41 of our daily study of Rambam Sefer Mitzvahs. This corresponds to the study of chapters 12, 13, and 14 in Hilchos Shabbos, in the three chapters a day of Mishnah Torah. And today's Rambam study is a very special day. We've brought up Sichos of the Rebbe many times already that help us to understand the day's Rambam. and we're going to do that, God willing, today as well. But it has an added special significance, which I will, God willing, explain to you momentarily. But first, let's present today's mitzvah. We're still in Hilchos Shabbos, the laws of Shabbos observance. We've done 2 Shabbos-related mitzvahs so far. We did the positive commandment of Tishbais, which means to rest. We did the negative commandment of Leisase Chol Malacha, do not do any productive, creative act. Now we have a third Shabbos-related mitzvah. Here we are. Let's present it. Negative commandment 322, which is Loi Sevaru Eish. Do not kindle fire. Do not kindle fire. Okay, we'll get into a discussion later about why does it say specifically don't kindle fire when we already were told there are 39 forms of labor, and kindling a fire is one of them. So why is this one singled out to be repeated? Well, God willing, we'll talk about that later because we have this mitzvah again tomorrow. But I want to share with you something today because it's pertinent to today, and that is that in the year Tavshin Mem Tes, that's 1989, Chof Beis Shvat, that was the first yahrzeit of the Rebbe Tzimcha Mushka. The Rebbe spoke, and in that sicha, the Rebbe referenced that day's Rambam study, which is today's Rambam study. You know that the yearly cycle of daily Rambam is not exactly a year, so it shifts throughout the seasons, so it doesn't always fall. I mean, it specifically doesn't fall on the same dates. I never did the calculation how long it actually takes, how many years it takes to come around full circle again and to line up again. But in Tavshin Mem Tes, today's Rambam was Chof Beis Shvat, which in that year was the first yahrzeit of the Rebbetzin. And the Rebbe taught a teaching based on the first halacha in the first chapter of the 3 chapters of that day, which remember we said is chapters 12, 13, and 14 of Hilchos Shabbos. So the beginning of chapter 12 says, Hamavir kol shehu chayov. Somebody who kindles even the smallest fire is obligated for violating Shabbos. V'hu, and that is, the Rambam gives us a stipulation, sheyehei tzorech lo efer. He did it for the ashes. He lit a fire for the ashes. Okay. And he explains, what does that mean? He did it for the ashes, that he didn't do it with destructive intent, because in order for a malacha to be a malacha, remember we explained yesterday that malacha means a creative act, a productive act, not a destructive act. So in order for it to be productive, you have to be trying to accomplish something. You have to be trying to make something. If you're just burning stuff to destroy it, that's not the actual biblical labor. So what would be an example of a productive fire? Now, obviously, if you're lighting a fire for warmth or for light, then that itself is productive. But let's say he's burning stuff, and is it just to get rid of the stuff and to destroy it? That's not the biblical labor. But if he's burning it in order to make it into something that he wants, meaning he wants the ash. Why does he want the ash? I don't know. Maybe he wants to make charcoal toothpaste. It's not really, maybe he's making a tint or a dye. That's not important. The important point is that in order for it to be a malacha, a productive act, and therefore biblically forbidden on Shabbos, it has to have productive intent, in which case it would be he's trying to produce ash. Okay. So the Rebbe explains something just absolutely amazing. This is a lesson in life. This is a lesson in life. What's Aish? What's fire? Inspiration, passion, excitement. Okay. When is passion productive? When does it actually have value? Practical value. In other words, inspiration comes, inspiration goes. When does inspiration have value? When is it, in other words, a malacha? A malacha, remember, we defined as a productive act, something that actually accomplishes something in this world. Fire, even a little fire, kolshehu, has value. It's a malacha. It's productive. I know it's a confusing concept because right now we're speaking about malacha in a positive way. And normally on Shabbos we think about a malacha in a negative light because it's a transgression. It's a violation of Shabbos. But think about it right now in terms of the 6 other days when we are trying to change the world and we are trying to be productive. So malacha is a good thing during 6 out of the 7 days. Okay, so when is fire, meaning passion, excitement, productive? When is it something that actually accomplishes something in the world? When you need the ash. When you're trying to produce something substantial from it. In other words, you could have the fire come, and then after the fire, everything's gone. You had the experience of the passion, the fire, and then afterwards, nothing changed. However, if the fire comes through, and at the end it produces something, even the tiniest thing, but it's something of substance, something physical, like ash is physical. In fact, ash is the only physicality that remains of something after it's been consumed by fire. So it really represents the idea of physicality, right? They say that matter and energy can neither be created nor destroyed, the conservation of matter and energy. So what happens if you burn a physical thing? So it doesn't really get destroyed. Really, it just gets converted. The matter gets converted to energy. And that's where the flame comes from. That's where the fire is. But then there's a certain amount of matter that remains matter. That's the ash. The afer is the physicality which remains physicality. So it really represents consummate physicality. So here's the vart. Here's the teaching. When is ash? When is fire, excitement, a malacha, a productive thing? When you want the ash, when you want something physical to come from it. So don't just let your inspiration come and go. You have to convert it into something physical, some act, something that you do with your body. And the Rebbe connected this to the entire message of a yahrzeit, which is that the soul of the departed one is now on high and reaching various levels of elevation, and which is obviously a great pleasure for the soul. But we who have bodies and can still engage the physical world have to create something physical. And so the inspiration that we gain from the souls, particularly of the righteous on high, the fire, in other words, has to be converted into something substantial, something physical. Go do something. Do an act of goodness and kindness in this physical world to make the physical world a better place. That's the teaching. It inspires me, and but inspiration, you got to turn it into something physical. So go do a mitzvah right away. Do something. We'll see you tomorrow, God willing.
Hello everyone. Today we learn a unique prohibition, negative mitzvah number 322. This is the prohibition on the Beis Din, on the Jewish court, not to carry out the death penalty on Shabbos. This is learned from an interesting verse in the Torah which states, "You shall not burn a fire in all your dwelling places on the Shabbos." Now this is an extra verse because there's a clear verse in the Torah which says do not do any work on Shabbos, and lighting a fire is included in that. The Talmud learns from this verse, therefore, that the word settlements is actually a reference to the Jewish court, the places where the Jewish courts are settled. And those Jewish courts should not light a fire. In other words, they should not administer the death penalty involving burning, nor any other death penalty, on the day of Shabbos.
גואלנו, והוא גואלנו, והוא גואלנו, משיח צדקנו, הרבי מלובביץ' מלך המשיח, הרבי מלובביץ'.
All right, that takes us to matters of Mashiach. here we go for today, Chav Ches, the 28th day of Nissan. One through our differences. The Jewish people are like a single body composed of many organs. Each organ is different, yet they are designed to work together for one. For one of us to fight another is like one hand attacking the other. Wow, that's impressive. It's true that Hashem created us all with differences, but these differences don't contradict our essential unity. Quite the opposite. We're created different because we are interdependent. We're meant to specialize and work together. Each person provides a necessary ingredient in the recipe of Mashiach and the redemption. Without even one ingredient, the recipe for Olam Haba, the world to come, is incomplete. Yeah, I got that. Here's Shmuel Tzvi, the message for us.
So this meditation, because it's really a deep meditation that applies to every moment of our lives, and that is focusing on how Hashem is beyond infinite, concentrating on this idea that He is beyond infinite, and everything is irrelevant in comparison to Hashem. Even the highest levels of reality, even the highest miracles, the highest godly revelations in the highest worlds, they're all, in comparison to Hashem, equally irrelevant. And when you think about this deeply, it causes you a deep elevation. You reach a higher state of mind where you feel an interest and a love and a fear of Hashem in your heart.
Inclusive Kitchen and Food Pantry is available 24/7. I think they still are. Hot meals and pantry food. Text the word food to 726-879, 726-879, and you can get 7 days worth of hot pantry food and hot meals every single day in Borough Park, Flatbush, and Queens. If you live in Rockland County, pantry food up north of me, it's tomcheshabbos.org. If you live in Lakewood, New Jersey, it's tomche.org. Queens. If you live in Chicago, it's breakfastwithelli.live. Up north of me, it's tomcheshabbos.org. Tomche Shabbos of Bergen County is available. And don't forget our national soup kitchen list at breakfastwithelli.live/Bergen County. For all your other needs, Achiezer is available. Man, Achiezer is an organization without any comparison. Really, seriously. They can provide absolutely everything that you need. And I don't even know how to begin to thank them for this wonderful, wonderful service that they provide. All right, Just One Shabbos is there to help bring our youth back to the beauty of keeping Shabbos one Shabbos at a time. And you know what? I think this is a good place to address what's going on in the world right now. You know I don't like to get political, and you know that I don't like to talk politics, but I do like to talk current events here. That is important. And we have a current event going on that's a little bit crazy. We've got people on campus making a tumult, okay? They're making a real tumult. And I think tying into Just One Shabbos and to hate crime, there is a small essay I'd like to read to you. We have time today? Yeah, we do. We have time today. A small essay I'd like to read to you that came from Rabbi Eliezer Zalmanov. It's entitled "The Jews Make No Sense." The scenes of anti-Semitic protest taking over elite college campuses around the country should give us pause. They're reminiscent of what our people experienced in the not-so-distant past, with words being used and slogans being shouted that make these campuses sound eerily like 1930s Germany and Poland, or 17th century Ukraine. This has to serve as a wake-up call to every Jew around the world, that although the modern world has advanced in so many ways over the last century, there are certain things that never change. Chief among them being the deep-rooted hatred for Jews that no modernity can ever wipe away. No congressional bill to redefine anti-Semitism will make it go away. Outlawing various words and expressions is nothing more than a band-aid on a generations-long malady that will not be eradicated by feel-good political posturing. I guess I can't say hateful things about Jews now that it's illegal, said no anti-Semite ever. So while it's heartening to see so many of our elected officials continue to have our backs in these taxing times, we must also remember that at the end of the day, the Jewish nation stands alone. Not just Israel as a state, but every single Jew around the world must constantly be reminded that relying on anyone other than ourselves and Hashem will be to our detriment. Sure, we need to get along with our friends and neighbors. We need to vote in elections to show our collective strength, and in general be productive members of society. But we can never assume that just because we've been integrated, that anti-Semitism is gone. It'll always be something that we have to contend with. So instead of approaching it as something that can be controlled by proclamation and legislation, we need to do what's always proven to be the key to Jews outliving their haters: be more Jewish. They want us to cower and be ashamed of who we are, but history has proven that they were wrong, and they are wrong now. Hiding our Jewish identity is simply not what we do. We stand proud of being Jewish, and no anti-Semite in the world can ever change that. No occupation of college campuses or blocking roads to airports will change the tune of Jewish survival. The pride of the Jewish people is our connection to Hashem and His Torah. This connection has always transcended logic, since our observance of Hashem's laws has nothing to do with what makes sense and everything to do with rising above. Where the world and logic expects us to go one way, Torah dictates we go in the exact opposite direction. Where society generally only follows logic and rationality, we follow the laws of a higher being who guides every aspect of our lives. In fact, those laws of Torah that have to do with logical grounds, such as the laws of ethics and morality, are observed because Hashem said so and not because they make sense to us. That's what sets us apart from any other society that follows a preordained set of rules. We avoid stealing, murder, and eating pork, all for the same reason, because that's how Hashem expects us to behave. Kedoshim to you should be holy, whether it makes sense or not. So, of course, we will also never be subjugated to the laws of rationale, which expect us to be less Jewish in the face of adversity, or at least until this wave passes. Logic would dictate keeping a low profile, yet as Jews, we refuse to do so. The wave won't pass, but we'll pass it and leave it in our dust. We stand up to any form of Jew hatred. We won't resign in the face of adversity, and as always, we will come out of this inexplicably stronger on the other side. Be more Jewish. Rabbi Eliezer Zalmanoff and his wife Chani co-direct Chabad of Northwest Indiana, proud parents of 7 children ages 6 to 20. Contact him for more information about this wonderful essay that he wrote. Be more Jewish. That's the answer. All right? If you're a guy, you should be wearing a yarmulke. I'm serious. 24/7. All right, some of you don't wear it while you sleep. Okay. But whenever you're up and around, a yarmulke on your head. Put on tefillin. If you don't know how, ask your local Orthodox Chabad rabbi or me. Women need to light Shabbos candles. Important stuff. Let's all keep Shabbos, because just one Shabbos got it? All right. If you are, God forbid, the victim of a hate crime or see a hate crime in progress, you need to call 911. You need to do it as soon as is humanly possible, because they're not going to wait. Okay. It's a tough call, but you got to do it. Hatzalah EMS available 24/7, 365. Get their global assist app. Put it on your home screen. And should we need it in times of bereavement, Miss Oskim is there to help us from A to Z. And we're still wearing masks out. At least I am. And a few other people.
Mask, wear a mask. Is this really much to ask? Tie some fabric round your face. Oh, it's the simplest of tasks. At the gym, at the store. Don't treat it like such a chore.
You also need to be getting your vaccinations and keeping up to date with them. I can't tell you how important that is, okay? Do not hesitate. All right, let's bring some heaven down to earth. All right. He does not appear greedy or haughty, but an egotist nonetheless. If there are options in the world other than his, then people are disregarding him. If something occurs not to his liking, it's a conspiracy against him. Whatever Hashem does in his world is either reward or punishment. All things are given meaning only as they relate to himself. He doesn't know of a world without himself. We tell him the first step in moving forward is to leave yourself behind. In Hebrew, it's called yesh. Yesh is an entity. Yesh mi'ayin, something from nothing. Leave your yesh behind and become ayin ve'efes, become nothing. Become an empty vessel, because Hashem cannot fill a full vessel if you make no room for him. Interesting thought, isn't it? All right. You want to talk more about it? Come to me on social media, any of the Actors Rabbis groups, at Clubhouse, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Telegram, Twitter, WhatsApp, YouTube, or theactorsrabbi.com. And if you Baruch ato Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam boirei nefashos rabois v'chesronan al kol ma sheborasa lachayos boem nefesh kol chai baruch chai ha'olamim. All right. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you to my Patreon sponsors, Pest Program, All Tarzan Orchids, Dina D Design, Bracha Biederman, Avi G, Reza Musavi. Go to patreon.com/theactorsrabbi and you can be a sponsor. Or go to breakfastwithelli.live/new-computer to help us get our new computer up and running. All right. Thank you for being here. It is the 28th of Nissan. It is Tut Alts Day. Do everything that you can to help bring Mashiach. You need to concentrate today on bringing Mashiach. We also need to concentrate on our friend Where did his name go? How did that get lost? All right. I think I have it over here still. So hold on one second. I want to make sure that we know. Yes, Itav Lev Halevi ben Vered. Itav Lev Halevi ben Vered, an IDF soldier who was very, very badly wounded yesterday, who needs our prayers for a refuah shlema. All right? Itav Lev ben Vered. Man, the braveness of these guys, unbelievable. Okay? So please do it. All right. We've got a nice video for you today. Dedi KOSHER medley. It's an a cappella version of some of Dedi's music. You all know about Dedi, I'm sure. We lost him recently. And so this is a great tribute to him. All right. Go out and make it a great and glorious day. In the words of Rabbi Isaac Hamler, have affection for a fellow. Hashem will have affection for you. Do a kindness for a fellow. Hashem will do a kindness for you. Draw a fellow close. Hashem will draw you close to him. Be the reason someone smiles. And I will talk to you, God willing, tomorrow. Have a great day. Thank you again for being here. Love you all. Bye-bye.
ויבוסכו אל תוסיר ממנו לאוילומים ויבוסכו אל תוסיר ממנו לאוילומים על כל זמן זמן וזמן על כל זמן זמן וזמן שאודום שוימר פיבו לשוינוי שוימר מצורוי סנפשוי שמע בני מוסר אביכו ואל תיטוש תוירה שמחו שמע בני מוסר אביכו ואל תיטוש תוירה שמחו נה 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 אדם צומוקוים אוי מוקוים לשם אדם צומוקוים לשם Hashem, ay 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 Adem somokoim Lashem, Adem somokoim Lashem, oy 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 mishkenois, lavir Yaakov, Adem somokoim Lashem, im lo echashem, oy leoilom, Eloi kaich tzion, ledoi vadoi, ralelu koho. Oy chai vekayom oy chai vekayom noy ro moroim vekodosh oy chai vekayom oy chai vekayom noy ro moroim vekodosh ten lanu tikva ותן לנו תקווה נשיר ביחד פה תן לנו תקווה כמו אז וגם אתה
בדרוכה יהלכו לו עמי שוימי עלי ישראל בדרוכה יהלכו ישראל בדרוכי יהלכו
Bring them home, bring them home. We've been praying for so long, so Abba, please bring them home. Bring them home, please bring them home. We've been praying for so long, so Abba, please bring them home. We're coming home, we're almost home.